In this video, we're going to talk about how to create high school electives for homeschoolers. I absolutely love homeschooling through the high school years. I think keeping our teens at home through high school has so many benefits, and this is one of them, that we can create unique electives that they are going to enjoy and have fun doing, electives that are going to help build skills and talents and abilities that they're going to use for the rest of their lives. So this is just a really fun aspect of being able to homeschool your high schooler. Now, some of you are in the beginning of your high school journey, homeschooling that high schooler, and when it comes to creating electives, the sky is the limits for you. You can sit down with your teen and brainstorm all different courses that they might want to take and start putting those courses together and mapping them out over the next 4 years. But for some of you, you might be at the end of the high school journey of homeschooling your high schooler, and you're starting to scramble a little bit because you're realizing you don't have enough electives for your child to apply for a particular college. Well, don't worry. What you need to do is look back over your students' high school years and think about what they've already spent a lot of time doing, and then maybe add in some extra components to round out or complete a course for your student. So here are some examples. If you have a child who loves cooking and baking in your home, and they have spent hours upon hours making your family meals, baking things for friends and family, then what you can do is have that student gather up a whole bunch of recipes, put them together in a binder, organize them in a particular way, kind of like a cookbook, and then you have something to evaluate and issue a grade off of, and you can call that course Culinary Arts. If you have a teen who has lived and breathed cars all their life, and they have spent lots of time working on cars, maybe fixing the engine or doing whatever it is that people do with cars, because I know nothing about it, but you can maybe have your student just give a presentation about car maintenance. It could be a presentation to you. Maybe it's something that they do for younger siblings or for some other young kids who are interested in learning about cars. They can put together a presentation and share that, and you can call that automotive repair, an automotive repair class. Perhaps you have, like me, a teenager who loves babysitting or is always taking care of younger siblings. Well, you can create a Child Care 101 course for them. Maybe this is a course that's going to have a lot of hands-on practice, all those hours of babysitting and taking care of younger siblings, and maybe then you want to add in a few extra things, like maybe having them take a CPR class or reading a book about child development and writing a little essay or paper about what they've learned. So just look back over the years at what your student has spent a lot of time doing and see if you can create a course that can maybe round out what they've already done. So let's go ahead and jump into actually how do you create a high school elective. So when it comes to creating a high school elective, you need to think about two things. First of all, what's actually going to be in the course? What is your student going to do? What kind of components are going to make up that high school elective? And then secondly, you need to think about how you're going to issue a grade. How are you going to evaluate what they've done and give them a grade for that elective? So let's go ahead and first look at how you determine or put together a course. What kind of components are going to be in there? When I'm creating courses, I like to have kind of 3 components in the elective course that I'm creating. Now, these can't always be in every single course because it really depends on what the subject is and, how you're going to put the course together, but I like to try to include these 3 things. First of all, learning. I want some kind of learning component. Second is doing. I want them to maybe be putting a practical application to what they've learned. And then 3, some kind of evaluation component. So let's first look at learning. When it comes to learning, we want our students obviously to be learning something about this subject that they are doing. They might be learning through reading a book. Maybe it's watching some videos or working one-on-one with somebody who is more advanced in this skill. So let's take a culinary arts class. Perhaps your student is going to read some books on, the best ways to cook in the kitchen. Maybe your student is going to watch some of their favorite cooking shows on TV, and so that they're learning some new skills that way. Maybe you're going to have your student go over to a friend's house who's really good at baking cakes or is really good at cooking a particular type of meal. Maybe they're really good at Asian food or, Mexican food, and you're going to have your student go over there and learn. But you want to think about, how is my student actually going to learn? What's the learning component of this course? And like I said, you can really get creative here on how they learn, from textbooks to videos to almost like an apprenticeship. You need to have some learning component in there. The second thing is the doing component. You need I think it's good to have some kind of practical application where they're putting what they've learned into practice. Now again, this might not be the case for every course. If your student is doing a film history course, for example, and they're learning about the history of filmmaking and maybe they're watching a whole bunch of different films throughout the era, from silent films and black and white films to colored films and films with sound. And as movies are created that use more technology and special effects. And so there's not really going to be a hands-on component for that. They're just learning a whole bunch about film history. But a lot of classes can have a hands-on component that you can incorporate into the course description that the course that you're creating for them. And then finally, you need some kind of evaluation. If you're going to give your student a grade, you need to be able to evaluate something so that you can give them a grade that's comparable to what the time that they've put in and the knowledge that they've gained and all of that. So some different evaluation tools would obviously be the normal test and quizzes, which I don't usually use for electives because, number one, that means I have to create the tests and quizzes, which I don't normally want to do. But also, electives are supposed to be fun, so I don't know that tests and quizzes are always that fun. But some other great options would be an oral presentation, writing some kind of essay or report, or doing some kind of project. And of course, if your student, like I said, is taking maybe a culinary arts course, maybe you're going to evaluate what the food that they've actually created and the progress, how their skills have improved over the years. So we want to have a learning component, kind of doing or hands-on component if at all possible, and some way to evaluate their work. Now when it comes to issuing the credits, the question comes up, well, is this a half a credit course? I mean, was it only one semester worth of work that they did? Or is it a full year's worth of work that they did, which would be a 1 credit course? Well, HSLDA gives us some guidelines to work by, and remember, these are just guidelines. They suggest that a student for a full year course, so that's a whole year, they get 1 full credit, that they put in about 120 to 180 hours of work for that course. So then obviously a 1 semester or half credit course would be half of that amount of time. Now these are just guidelines, so if you think your student has done enough work, they have grown in their skills and knowledge of a particular subject, and you want to give them a full year, a full credit, then that is absolutely fine. That is up to you as the homeschool parent. And kids learn at different rates, so some kids pick things up really fast and they've gained the knowledge in 1 semester that most people takes a whole year. So we really just mostly want to evaluate what have they learned, what have they gained from this course. But those are some guidelines from HSLDA. If you're already feeling a little overwhelmed by all of this and you're trying to jot things down and take notes, don't worry, I've done a full blog post on this. I will link that down below in the description. I not only share everything here, but I go into more detail and have really helpful links to other sites and resources. So make sure to go check out that blog post. So the second thing that we want to make sure that we're incorporating into our courses is some way to evaluate our students' work and to give them a grade. And this is going to look different depending on the course that your student's taking. I'm going to share with you some different ways, different things that you can use for evaluating your students' work. And obviously some of them are going to lend themselves to some types of courses and some are not going to work. So you just kind of have to pick and choose and think about what's going to work best for the course that you're creating. But I think one of them that's going to pretty much work for any course is participation. Giving your student points towards participating in the course. Are they doing all of the required work? Are they turning it in on time? Are they spending the amount of hours that you want them to spend in doing the course? And so you could say to your student, hey, if you can get this assignment done, you can get this project done by Friday, I'll give you 10 full participation points. If you're a little late, a day late or whatever, then it's going to get knocked down to 9. So we can evaluate the work just based on their participation. Another way, like I said, is tests and quizzes, which don't always lend themselves real well to elective courses, but sometimes they do. If you're giving your student a worldview course and you want them to learn about maybe all the different religions in the world and their beliefs compared to the Bible, then maybe you're going to have a test for them for that and some kind of test or quiz to evaluate the knowledge that they've learned about those particular religions and how they compare to the Bible. Another one would be writing assignments, having your student write an essay or research paper about what they're learning about. Also, oral presentations and projects are a great way to evaluate the course and to issue a grade. Now, when it comes to writing assignments and it comes to oral presentations and projects, it's really helpful for the student as well as us as parents to have some kind of grading chart so your student knows what's expected of them and you have a way of checking off and giving them credit for the different things that they did. So I'm going to have links to those in those blog posts of sample kind of charts or rubrics for writing and oral presentations and projects that you can use to give your student a grade. So it really is pretty simple to create high school electives for our homeschooler. I think if you want to have success with that elective, the best thing you can do is to bring your teen in on the planning of the course. Let them have input into what kind of course they want to take and what that course is going to be made up of. Maybe you have a teen who would prefer watching maybe videos to learn the information versus reading, or you have a student who'd rather do more of an apprenticeship than reading or watching. And so you can get your teens input and kind of put that course together, maybe give them some options, say, hey, I've got these 5 books to choose from. You need to pick 2 of them that you're going to read and to use in this course. Another great thing is to give our teens input, let them give input into how they're going to be evaluated. Perhaps you can let your teen know that after they do about 10 hours of apprenticeship or working with somebody else and learning this skill, that they have to do something for you to evaluate. But let them choose what that something is, whether it's an oral presentation or a project or a written assignment, or maybe even teaching a younger sibling what they have learned. So let them come in and have some input on how they're going to be evaluated and how the course is going to be set up. Now, you might still be stuck on what you could even possibly create for your high schooler. You're thinking, yeah, that sounds amazing, but what are some of the options out there? Well, I've written down just a few of the many things that you can do, different courses that you can create for your high schooler. I'm going to read from them here, and I'll have even more in that blog post. But what about a fiction writing course? Does your student love writing and they love writing novels? Let them do a fiction writing course. There's some great resources out there that you can just buy on Amazon that are books on how to write fiction. Have your child read one of those books and then write a couple stories for a half or full credit. Maybe film history, having your student learn and the history of film making, auto repair, floral design, music theory, drama or dance, even stage makeup. Maybe your student doesn't love to be on stage, but they love makeup and they love the thought of being able to do people's makeup on stage. Or for drama, they could do a stage makeup course. Photography, speech and debate, journalism. If you're part of a co-op class, you could even do a yearbook. Have your student ask the moms to give them pictures from all the different co-op classes, and your student could put together a yearbook that they could then sell for the co-op. Early childhood development, ceramics, homesteading. That's an easy one for some of you who love homesteading and you already do that as a family. You can count that as a high school elective for your teen. What about construction, computer programming, fashion design? I mean, like I said, the sky is the limit. What is your student interested in? And then start thinking of ways that you could bring in books and video and other people that you know that have that skill around you to kind of make a complete course for your high schooler. I'm telling you, homeschooling the high school years is wonderful. I absolutely love it. And creating unique high school electives is such a benefit. And it's so neat to see our teens doing something that they love and that they're excited about. So make sure to go back and check out that blog post that I mentioned. There'll be more details and links to even more resources to help you create those high school electives for your homeschooler.